Hello,
Hi,
I'm Lisa.
and I'm Chris, and this is 3OS Fridays.
Yeah, oh, I like that.
It's 3OS on Friday, so it wasn't that hard to come up with. But these are just like little extras we like to do. Otherwise, the main podcast would get too long.
Yes.
But we are just in this episode, we're going to talk about some winter sweater pattern suggestions. And we've got 5 knit sweaters and 5 crochet sweaters that we think would be perfect cozy winter knits or crochet projects. So, Lisa, would you like to show us your first sweater?
Yes, I would.
Silliness.
My first suggestion for a winter piece is the Akwa Miri sweater. It's by Sylvia Watts Cherry, and I fell in love with this last year. I did. I've actually purchased yarn for it. It is a long line cardigan. Of course, you can change the length if you wish. It has a little bit of intarsia to keep things interesting. And I think it gives you a lot of opportunity for playing with color. So it's basically a 3-color cardigan that you can just arrange your colors however you like.
Okay. So my first one is actually the Dublin Sweater. And that is by Shannon Mullet Bowlesby. It can also be worn as a sweater dress depending on the length. But it's by Shannon Mullet Bowlesby, who now goes by Shannon Lee Rodan. It is in the book Urban Edge. And funny story, I had that book for many, many years before I realized that each sweater was named after a different city. Urban Edge, city name. Don't ask me why that never occurred to me, but now I get it. So this is the Dublin sweater. I feel very goofy, but now we all know.
Okay.
But the cables, the cowl neck, the length, everything about this works for me. And Shannon writes very clear, wonderful patterns. So I feel like all of my sweaters, I should mention, are coming from books. If you just want something a little bit different from, what everyone else is making on Ravelry. So this is an older pattern. So you're not going to see it everywhere you go. I think true. that adds a little something to it.
That is true.
And I love the tunic length. I love the wide sleeves. I love the cable design going down the sleeves. I mean, I love everything about the sweater.
What would you make that out of?
Oh, goodness. I think the pattern calls for a DK weight. I'm not sure. But off the top of my head, I can't say. That's the thing. I feel like this could be made out of a lot of different yarns.
I'm thinking silk. Can you imagine?
But yeah, you go in any number of directions with this. And you don't even have to use one yarn because you could use one thing for the upper body and then another thing for those cables down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I'd probably make it a Franken sweater.
Absolutely. Okay, so my next one is called Comfort Zone. One of the things I'm really like looking at this winter in sweaters is ways to use what you already have in your stash.
This is very school uniform, but in a cute way.
Yes, that's what I liked about it, because she already gives you suggestions for where to place. Let's say you had a bit of one color and just a little bit of another, but too much to not use. This would be a great way to add some color play. And what sold me on the Comfort Zone, look at this detail. The contrast pockets. What? What? And did you see you have texture playing against color? Just
that's cute.
The details. Yes. And all of the sweaters I've chosen range generally from somewhere around 30 inches and across the bust to at least 50. So there's a good size range. Some go all the way to 70. But that is called the Comfort Zone, and I love it.
I like that one. Okay, so my next sweater, same designer, because you will hear this name a lot from me. I really can't recommend Shannon Lee Rodan's patterns enough, but the name published on this book will be Shannon Mullet Bowlesby, and it is from the book Design and Crochet. I fell in love with that book as soon as I saw it, because for me, it was one of the first crochet pattern books I'd ever seen where the patterns used fingering weight yarn. It used fingering weight yarn, it used hand dyed yarn, and those were things that I thought, crocheters were excluded from. So to see so many beautiful designs using this yarn weight that was new to me, I was really excited about it. And this sweater in particular, the two-way top, is kind of it used to be what I would call my white whale, because when I first saw it, I thought I could never make anything like that. Just like, no way, it's not possible. Today, I feel like I could make this sweater, and at some point I would really like to. But it's called the two-way top because it has that wider kind of like a boat neck thing happening at the top, and that piece at the bottom, you can actually flip this and make that piece at the bottom like a cowl neck and have the wider bottom. So it's a convertible sweater, and I wish he'd had a picture in the book of it both ways, but I can use my imagination. And I love this color that was chosen. I love the shape. If you get the book and you see the schematic, you see it's actually a very simple shape, but it's just got this beautiful textured stitch that makes it look just a bit more complicated than it is. But yeah, I was absolutely enchanted by this from the very first time I saw it, and it still has the same effect to me when I open the book. I'm still like, wow, this is a beautiful sweater. So that is my second choice, and it's called a two-way top.
The other thing I want to do to wear to make this year is kind of relaxed shapes, because I'm looking for comfortable sweatshirt replacements. So one of my sweatshirt replacements is the Dichromatic Tee. It's by Fatima Hines. And once again, it's a way to color block things so that you can use up what you have without having to have lots and lots of any one thing. But doesn't that just look comfortable? I love the soft neckline.
That's very much vacation-y.
Yes, it has that resort wear feel to it. I think that was white pants are really what she paired it with. But this is the back. I just love the comfortable feel that it has. But it still has some slightly interesting details. There's a little bit of texture play going on along the edges, and there's a little bit of texture worked into the body. So that is the Dichromatic Tee by Fatima Hines.
Okay, so my next top is Ava, and I have written down which book it's from. Let me get it right. Okay, so that is from the book Top Down Crochet Sweaters by Dora Orenstein. Dora Orenstein is another name you will hear from me a lot. I cannot recommend her patterns enough. She is so knowledgeable about crochet. She's been doing this for decades, and she knows what she's talking about. So this book, Top Down Crochet Sweaters, is all sweaters, but it's that can be made, top down in the round. But there are cardigans, there's long sleeve, there's short sleeve, and she shows you modifications for, making them bigger or making them smaller. It's a really great book, and I am not the biggest fan of popcorns. However, I do think they were used well here as just this fun accent, because there's actually only 3 rows that have the popcorns in them. But because it's monochromatic, and because it's almost a lacy, the stitch is a little bit open, and so I think it balances out what the way popcorns can sometimes be bulky and add a little bit too much mass. So I think that was just a really great design detail.
And I think the spacing on them also adds to that delicate. It doesn't overpower the open work.
And if you watched our most recent episode, I talked about wanting to do wider, more open necklines on my tops, and it has that. It goes shoulder to shoulder. It's not even just it's almost like a boat neck.
And I like how it's shallow.
Yeah,
although it's wide.
So I like everything about this sweater. And again, it's Ava by Dora Orenstein.
Lovely. My next one is Leaps and Bounds. You're going to see I have a theme going on here, because once again, I'm looking at ways to play with color so that you don't have to have.
This is almost similar to the way I used to color in Comeback Tee.
Yeah, it is.
It's got vertical elements and horizontal elements. Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it too, that you do have those vertical elements juxtaposed against the horizontal elements. I like the square neckline because you don't see a lot of that shape in patterns. I even like that the sleeves are 2 different colors. That's just a lot of fun to me. And there was also another version of this done that was in neutral colors. So if you're not looking for a lot of color, it was really stunning in the neutrals. So whatever colors you have,
is this
you can find a
fingering weight?
You know what?
Is it done in fingering weight?
DK.
Okay.
It was done in a DK. Go me and my notes. I was like, I don't know. But it's called Leaps and Bounds. It is by Jimenez Joseph, a British designer.
Okay, so my 4th sweater is the Foliage Shrug.
Oh, that's pretty.
And that is by Robin Chichula and another designer. If you're a crocheter, one of my themes for this list was designers you need to know. These are designers who not just do beautiful designs, but who teach in their books. So if you really want to learn more about construction, these are all designers who can help you out in that area.
What's the name of her book?
So this is from the book Blueprint Crochet Sweaters. And it is the Foliage Shrug. And it's a little Regency for me, but I'm not entirely mad just because I know I could make this look more contemporary with just like the right pair of jeans and stuff.
Yeah.
But I love all this texture. I love where she placed those cables, the clasp. This sweater for me is about the details. And every detail is just right. This is something I think you could wear in the office if your office is still, kind of chilly or something. But I also think you could take this out
easily.
Yeah,
easily.
So I think it's a very versatile piece. It's something you can dress up or dress down as needed. I could even see wearing this to a winter wedding.
Oh,
yes. And I love it. It's a little fancy. She's a little fancy. And I like that about it very, very much. And so, casual is cool. Not mad at it. But this definitely just takes your crochet up a notch. And I might have to make this year.
I was already thinking, I think she's going to make this. Because it has all of the things. So check out our Monday episode. Crystal was talking about what type of thing she wants to get into in her crochet this year, and I think this hit just about every marker.
Now that I'm really looking at this picture, I might have to make this one.
I think that's going to be added to your list.
Yeah, the queue is already. How am I at January 5th and the queue is already madness? But yeah, I love this sweater. So Robin Chichula, Foliage Shrug.
Oh, gorgeous. So my last sweater is in keeping with my theme of comfort, and it is the Weekender.
You know what? I liked this one when it came out.
Yeah, this is a sweatshirt.
I wanted you to make it, so I'm glad you finally came around to it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, Alicia should totally make that.
It's a worsted weight sweater. I think the only modification that I would do to it is I like my sweaters a little bit shorter, so I make it a little bit shorter. But other than that, I would be happy to wear it. It has the boat neck.
I was looking at that.
I really like it. And I could see doing it either in a plain color or in soft stripes. And it would just be cute.
Stripes, variegated color block. It's really this blank slate that you could project any yarn onto.
Absolutely.
And that is what's her name?
Andrea Mowry.
Yeah. But I did like that sweater when it first came out.
I could see if I made it a little bit longer, if I did it that length, I could wear my leggings with it. That would just be a weekend outfit.
Girl, you should make some matching leg warmers.
Oh, but yeah. And it's easy breezy knitting. No drama.
Is that it's all stockinette?
Pretty much, yeah. There's a little bit of a detail right just up in the shoulder area,
Mm-hmm.
but that's it. The rest of it is stockinette.
Okay, and so my last sweater, it is called the Classical Jacket.
Did you
And
make that before?
I did. This is the only thing on the list that I've actually made, so I can actually like recommend this pattern. It is by Lisa Gentry, and it's in the book The Crochet Closet. And the Crochet Closet will always be near and dear to my heart because this is where I started with garment making. It's the first book that I used to try to make clothes from. My first jacket that I made did not go well, but you know what? It went well in terms of construction. It did not go well in terms of fit, but when I was done, I had a thing that looked like a jacket, and it made me so excited to keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
And so this really got me into making garments.
So she finished it so well. It looked so pretty. We didn't know it didn't fit.
Yeah, I didn't let them see it on me.
Yeah. But it looked just like the picture, only nicer.
But this is the well, this one did fit. The first one that I made something like the button down jacket or something like that.
Yeah.
That one didn't fit, but this one did fit. This is called the Classical Jacket, and this was another one of those things when I looked at it, I was like, oh, I could never do that. Why? Because there are pleats at the waist, and I was like, that's impossible. No one can crochet pleats. But it turned out to be a lot simpler than I thought, and for me, I would say the pattern explained it well enough that I was able to do it. I actually made this out of Karen Simply Saw. Not the best choice, but it did look very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I love those little bell sleeves. Again, it's just a couple of pleats tucked in there. And the Crochet Closet, I also like the name of that book because it really just conjured for me like this me-made wardrobe. And I saw the possibility of that for the first time.
Now, if you were to make this over again, what would you make it out of?
I would probably go down in weight.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably, because I wanted to still have some mass, I would probably go down to sport weight.
Yeah.
But I want it to be a softer yarn, so something that has maybe a little bit of silk in it or something. So that, because as you see, it's fitted and it's very supple, but then it's going to flare a little bit at the waist, and I want to be able to preserve all of that and not make. I want a yarn that will have movement
Some
to
drape,
it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I would absolutely go down in yarn size. And this has set-in sleeves, and set-in sleeves have never been my favorite, but it looks so good.
You know what? We have some Andorra that's a sport weight.
I have, I'm kind of slowly remaking some old projects that I didn't make out of like the best yarns, and this is somewhere on the list. We're going to not cue jump.
Nope.
But this is on the list of projects that I would actually very much like to remake. So that is my fit, and that's just so cute. But Lisa Gentry, The Crochet Closet.
And all of our references will be in the description bar below. Also, most of mine are Ravelry downloads, but there is one, the Akwa Miri sweater, that is only available in Liner Magazine, issue 10. Good luck finding that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But I love it so. I did find...
But don't they sell digital back issues on their website? I thought they did.
Not of that one. I don't know why.
Oh.
But I did find it. It's out there. It's just at various yarn stores around the country and world. Issue 10.
That was a great recommendation, Lisa.
It was so beautiful. I could not recommend it.
So all of mine are from books. I know the Crochet Closet is Leisure Arts. All of Leisure Arts back books, back catalog, you can buy digitally at their website. You can probably get print as well, but I know you can get a digital copy of this book because I think I bought one because for a while I couldn't find my copy, and I was like, look, I need to make sure I have this. So I actually have a paper copy and digital copy of this. But most of the other books, Robin Chula, Dora Orenstein, Amazon, or you might be able to find them on like thrift books or anything like that. So like I said, I like to work from books because once you get comfortable with a particular designer's style of, pattern writing, you know that everything in the book is going to follow that same style.
Yes.
So several of these books, I've made multiple things from the book because, again, I just had that comfort of familiarity with that designer style. So I will always have a preference for books over digital patterns, not because of the format, because, like I said, you just get to know the designer a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, the books should be easy to find. Unlike the lost issue of Lina.
I found it, so it's out there. It's out there.
Goofus.
I tried to get it directly from them, and it was like, nah. Good luck, though.
Anyway, so that is our 3LS Fridays. So happy sweater making, happy winter cozy making.
And if any of these patterns inspired you, let us know. We'd love to see what you made out of it.
Yeah, let us know which one you think you'd be most likely to make.
All right. See you next
Bye-bye.
time.
Stay stitching.